You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today, I really want to get started on teaching you and talking to you about how do we get well? How do we improve our wellness? And I want to talk about just one concept with that today, because I know that you've read articles online, you've seen the different lab tests you could run, you've looked at the different nutritional supplements, you've read books, you've seen different contradicting stories. But what's one thing that you can do right away that you might be missing that you could absolutely implement that would get you the results you're looking for? And so I want to talk about that today because, again, we all have different symptoms. We all have different diseases in our body, and we might be trying to lose weight, get well, or just overall improve our longevity, our just quality of life. And a lot of times what we don't look at is instead of always what we can put into our body, right? There's so many great nutritional supplements. There's so many great foods. Well, what about the things that we're putting into our body right now that are actually causing the issues, right? So sometimes we're looking at what more can we add to our life? What more can we do? Because we're always in this addition mode, right? We're in this Western-based mentality of we need more, we need to just, what's the next best thing? Where a lot of times we're not talking about what can we subtract? What can we take away? And I'm not going to get into the stress part of that today, but what I'm going to get into is what do we put in our body right now that could be offending us, that could be causing a major issue? And so a lot of times it's the foods and it's the beverages that we're putting into our body that are actually causing the issues in the first place. And yes, sometimes they could be so-called healthy foods that could be causing these issues. And so I want to talk about that right now because I've seen miraculous things happen, and I do this a lot oftentimes with children, meaning like I don't like to do a lot of nutritional supplements with children. Even if their labs show that they have a lot of other issues going on, is I always really try to start with food because unlike adults, children aren't always at the accumulation phase. Like they haven't been around long enough for 20, 30, 40, 50 decades where their body's just accumulated so many toxins. Now, some children absolutely do. In autism, ADD, allergies, it's a really good case, and you can actually back that up by just amazing lab tests and research. But for adults, what we want to look at is this. What are we doing? What do we put in our bodies that are causing a lot of times these issues? And so it's always most important to start with foods. Now, there's two ways to go about this. I'm going to give you both. I personally believe every human alive should do a food sensitivity test, and they should do a very specific one. They should do what's called an IgG food sensitivity test. And what is that test for? Well, it tests for this. A lot of people right now who are dealing with allergies, they're dealing with bloating, they're dealing with gas, they're dealing with heartburn, they're dealing with any digestive disorders, they're dealing with IBS, Crohn's, colitis, or they're dealing with an autoimmune issue like rheumatoid arthritis, with psoriasis, with Hashimoto's, or they're dealing with ADD, ADHD, autism-based spectrum. The research is there. The science is there. There are direct correlations between foods that you're putting in your body, the immune-based reaction, the inflammation-based reaction, and all of those health issues I just named. And that includes weight gain as well. You have to understand that your body would be perfectly happy, perfectly healthy, and at the best weight possible for you. That doesn't mean stick thin. That means a good weight for you if it wasn't dealing with all of these imbalances. And a lot of times it starts with food. It starts with what we're putting in our body, and it can be healthy food. Just because a food is healthy or so-called healthy does not mean it's healthy for you. And I would just want to give you some examples. When you do an IgG food sensitivity test, you are testing foods that react in your body 24 to 72 hours later, which means you have very little control or knowledge over how that food is affecting you. Because if you're listening to this podcast on a Tuesday, foods you ate on Saturday or Sunday could be affecting you today. Now, it's crazy to think like that, but you can have a delayed immune reaction, and that causes inflammation. And that inflammation can then cause any number of issues we just spoke about, okay? Inflammation is non-specific, and people's symptoms come based on where their Achilles heel is. So that's what IgG food sensitivity shows. It shows, okay, you're eating yogurt. Well, is that healthy for you? Yes or no? I don't know. That's why I test for it. And that shows me that a lot of people are sensitive to cheese, to yogurt, to even the grass-fed variations. And then we test for gluten. We test for wheat. Is that a sensitivity from an IgG perspective? Yes or no? What about yeast? What about bananas? What about eggs? What about chicken? What about all these other foods? There's 94 foods that we test for that you can actually see, are you sensitive to them, yes or no? This goes for children. This goes for adults. This goes for everyone. So it's really, really important. And I believe that if you can afford the lab, everyone should run it. And what we do is we offer the lab, and you can, of course, just see what it is. Anyone can do it at home. We send these all over the U.S. We send them almost all over the world. You just literally do a finger stick, and then you mail it back into the lab. That's it. We get your results. We send you the results in about 3 weeks from them with a full plan, and you get a consultation with our nutritionist. But you can do this not just with us. Remember, I want to give you the knowledge, and I want you to take the knowledge, and I want you to do what's best for you. I just want to make it simple for you. That's it. And my whole goal in the future is I want you to be able to take back control of your own health. You don't need to go to a doctor. You don't need to do anything. You get to choose your own health, your own destiny. That's what it's all about. But you can also go to a functional medicine doctor and say, hey, can you do a IgG food sensitivity test? And they might be able to run it for you, and that's great as well. So again, I'm giving you the knowledge. Now, what if you can't afford the lab? I understand that as well. What I want you to do is this. I want you to start rotating your foods. Don't eat the same foods every single day. Because if you start to rotate them maybe every 3 days, what happens then is you start to understand, well, if you keep track of it long enough, man, on this day or the next day after I eat this specific food, maybe it's just avocados, or maybe it is eggs. You start to get a little brain fatigue, a little brain fog, a little overall body fatigue. And that's just, again, from this healthy food. Maybe it happens that day, maybe it happens the next day. Or you get a migraine. Again, migraines can be caused by inflammation, they can cause by food sensitivities, by histamines, by all of these different things. And the reason why I'm making this into such a big deal and such a big podcast is people oftentimes think, well, because they read a book, meaning like just go back to eating whole foods. It's nice. That's a nice thought, and that is where you should start. But whole foods can cause reactivity because no one food is great for every single person in the world. And it's really important for us to start to understand that is this thing called bioindividuality. You're not paleo, you're not vegan, you're not vegetarian, you're not fruitarian, you're not whatever. You are what's best for you. You're what's best for your body. And that's really what I want to get back to. And I also don't want to leave you just high and dry. I want you to also understand what are the most common food sensitivities. Well, the most common food sensitivities are dairy. They are gluten. They are soy. They are corn. They are the GMO foods in general. They are a sensitivity to nuts. They are a sensitivity to eggs. Those are a lot of the major ones. The minor ones only come up with the food sensitivity testing. Like sometimes I test people and cranberries come up, or watermelon, or bananas, or pumpkin, just some random ones that might be coming up. And if you do a food sensitivity test and you have a lot that come up, like more than a half a dozen, well, this is a really good sign that you might have intestinal permeability or leaky gut. And you need to clear that up. If not, your immune system is going to be reacting to every food that you eat. It's just these things are going to be coming through your gut wall. Your immune system is going to be attacking them. And then you can do all the immune modulators in the world. You could do all the medicinal mushrooms. You can do, all of the antibacterial, the anti-candida, but you have to seal up that gut wall eventually. And that's why I am a firm believer is that we have to start with food first. I do agree with that, but it doesn't mean that every food is right for you. And so my recommendation, of course, is to be able to run that lab if you can. But if you can't, start to do a rotation-based diet where you're not eating the same exact foods every day. Start to become more aware of how your body feels after you eat these certain foods that day and the next day as well. And then if you're not willing to do the rotation diet as well, start to just eliminate those great food sensitivities like the dairy, like the yeast, like the gluten, like the soy. Try to eliminate those. And how do you feel after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Some people, they cannot believe the difference. Their skin begins to clear up. Their fatigue begins to clear up. The inflammation goes down. Their joint pain is less. Their ADD is gone. And so, again, these are remarkable things. And I just want you to be able, I want to meet you at whatever level you're at right now. And that's what I always tell people when I work with them in my practice is that I don't know where you're at in your life right now. I'm going to give you a few options. I want to meet you at what you feel you can handle right now. If you're ready for the testing, great. If not, what about the rotation diet? Not ready for that? Well, let's just do an elimination, even just one of those foods. Maybe it's just dairy, or maybe it's just gluten, or Maybe it's just GMO foods. Maybe you're just doing organic. It's what can you do? But the bottom line is you have to do something. You have to take one step forward, and that's what I want you to decide for yourself, right? So I am the person, hopefully, just give you the information, and from there, I want you to take control of your own life, you to take control of your own body. That's how you eventually get to the destination where you want to get to, which is you're being happy with your body, being happy with your health, and that you're just aging better. You feel better. You have more vitality, you have more vibrance, and you have more zest for life. And if you don't have that right now, well, you're being weighed down by something. Something in your body right now is out of balance, because when your body's in balance, all of those things take care of themselves. They really do. So hopefully this episode helped. We'll link up the food sensitivity test that I recommend in the show notes. You can just go to stevencabral.com/241. You can see exactly what it is. And again, you never have to run any labs through myself, but when you do it through us, you get my recommendations. You also get a consultation as well. And of course, you get the absolute best price on any of these labs. But you can also find a functional medicine doctor in your area too, who's very knowledgeable in this. Thank you once again for tuning into the Cabral Concept. And if you felt this episode could help anyone else in your life, please do feel free to pass it on. Have a great day. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.